Well, Marvel keeps trimming the fat. And now we have a new report of another Marvel series getting completely scrapped. And honestly, this one was unnecessary, but it's still quite the bummer. Earlier this week, we learned that Marvel Studios is really going back to the drawing board on a lot of projects, most prominently with Daredevil Born Again. In case you didn't hear, they're essentially rebooting that series on a creative level, and the show's writers and directors have been fired, with Marvel planning only to keep a handful of scenes shot prior to the strike. Now, we've also gotten reports that Marvel Studios is completely reworking how they're approaching TV. They're going to start using proper showrunners to spearhead these shows, and televisions will no longer be produced like movies, where they're basically shot in their entirety and then everything is fixed in post-production. This means a lot of those shows were locked in and it was too late to make any changes, and that was quite relevant with a lot of other projects. Now, we've also heard that some projects have been out now canceled, with Vision Quest at the top of that list. And now it appears there's another fresh casualty joining Vision on the heap of discarded shows. Now, recently, talking to the Watch podcast, author of the MCU The Reign of Marvel Studios, Joanna Robertson, made a big reveal on the upcoming Wonder Man project, and honestly, I'm sort of surprised. She actually said they're trashing the Wonder Man project, meaning that project is apparently completely going away. Now, like Daredevil Born Again, cameras were already rolling on Wonder Man before the strikes kicked off, so this will indeed cost Marvel Studios a little bit of money, but honestly, if the story wasn't fitting the greater path, well, I understand what Marvel is doing. Now, what the trades were reporting is the series was going to revolve around Simon Williams, as it should be. But if you were paying attention, you may have noticed it was never officially announced by Marvel Studios. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom star Yahya Abdul-Mateen was tapped to play Wonder Man, with Sir Ben Kingsley set to return once again as Trevor Slattery. This also had Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings director Destin Daniel Cretton overseeing the series, with Andrew Guest as the head writer. Now, the big question remains, why would Marvel dump this series completely? And I think there's a couple of reasons. First and foremost, a story of a superhero who moonlights as a stuntman and actor might simply not have been working. Now, I'd be shocked if they ditched some of the talent associated with the project, and it could be rolled into a special presentation, but I don't know if the overall basis of the series would have really worked. Additionally, we know Marvel Studios has been adjusting a lot of what they're doing to focus on the primary storyline. Marvel has so many irons in the fire, it's been really hard to follow up with characters we want to see again. For example, Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi, is attached to this, but we haven't seen Shang-Chi since his last appearance in his own film. During the first couple of phases of Marvel Studios, we saw these characters quite often, and since this show is not leading to the final storyline or continuing us getting closer to one of these primary characters, I kind of understand what they were up to. Well, we are going to pay close attention to this. Wonder Man had a lot of fans pretty excited. He's a pretty unique member of the West Coast Avengers and pretty cool in Marvel Comics, so this is a bit of a bummer that this show is being tossed on the scrap heap.